Cool. Well, welcome to the show, everyone. You probably don't recognize my voice, depending on whether or not Jesus has launched the podcast where he interviewed me. So should I introduce your show or do you introduce your show? What do you think here?
Yeah. So either way, we're going to repurpose this, and I'm going to put it on our podcast, Mastering B2B Marketing Podcast, and Steven's going to put it on his
Business
podcast,
Over Breakfast.
Business Over Breakfast.
That's right.
We're both entrepreneurs. We're both run an agency. Mm-hmm. Steven runs a B2B podcasting agency, and I run a B2B web development agency. So podcasting websites, what's interesting about the two is the podcasting is like, it's all out, like outbound. Yep. And then it all comes back to the website. So it goes hand in hand.
True. Oh man, you're stealing the thunder already.
Which is cool. So I interviewed Steven, and now he's interviewing me on this one. So this is going to be interesting. We're good friends, and we follow each other on LinkedIn too. So let's dive right in. Steven, you have a handful of questions. I'm super excited. I'm fired up about this, really.
Oh man. Yeah, dude, I've been excited about this since we came up with the idea during our last recording. So this should be a lot of fun. This is going to be great. So, so we're going to kind of turn the tables a little bit. And one of the main reasons why I definitely wanted to do this was because, when we launch a show for anybody, a lot of times, the audience is very interested in who is doing the show, why are they doing the show? Why is it worthwhile listening to, the host of the show, and what makes them, best fit to bring knowledge in their respective domains. So what I was really excited about after being on Jesus's show here was to kind of turn the table and just do what we do for a client coming in for the first time. And the goal is really, the audience here that's listening is to get you more detail on the background of Jesus, of his business, what are his goals? How did he come to be an entrepreneur and why? So I think there's going to be some exciting back and forth around this. And I always get so fired up and excited interviewing another entrepreneur because, I think it takes a lot, as I forget who said it, but it's like eating glass, staring into the abyss. On some days, and then on some days, you're just like, this is what I was born to do. So I think it'll be fun. So why don't and I'm not sure. Have you ever done any sort of interview like this on your show?
I've had people that I've interviewed and asked about specifically entrepreneurship and also B2B marketing. And I've also been guests on other people's shows as well, marketing shows. Yeah. So this is good. And even talking about business and everything, I will say that it's very rare for someone to dive right into the entrepreneurial mindset, spirit, heart, all that passion. Usually the questions I get asked is around websites and B2B marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we might go there, we'll see, but I think it's going to be more fun. And one of the things that I, encourage people who are evaluating doing business, especially in the marketing realm, is to understand the background of the business that you're working with. And that goes beyond kind of the marketing side of things. And what's interesting, and we, one of the topics I do want to go down in proper marketing is probably the difference between branding and marketing. And I think some of the brand tenets are a projection of the entrepreneur themselves. So as you're evaluating agency partners to do business with, I think an episode like this is great for those people interested in doing business with a company. So anyway, We'll get into it. So let's start out with the broad stroke question. What was your journey to entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So my journey, I try not to go too far back. Well, I will go far back. So
I was going to pull you there anyway. So you might as well.
Yeah. So first generation college student, grew up with my stepdad from third grade up, and he was basically the entrepreneur, and he did a lot of, I would call it hard labor type entrepreneurship. He would service and sell 18 wheelers, the tractors, the whole thing, the whole semi. Right. And, I remember moving those things on the land to still in Texas, sitting on 27 acres. Wow. People in California are like, what are acres? So it's true. Like, and I just grew up like, how do I talk to a customer? He would make me like write emails to customers. He would make me answer the phone calls, take cash on hand, service, all that stuff as a kid. So I grew up around that. Yeah, I grew up around that culture. And honestly, I wanted just to play video games, not want to go out. When he was ready to go out to work in the morning, he's like, come on, get dressed. We're going out. I'm like, I don't want to. I'd rather play like Halo, Call of Duty. I was a gamer back then. So that's awesome. I'd rather play all these other, Dreamcasts. It's crazy, all this, Nintendo and everything. So then I was like, okay, I learned to not just speak, but value relationships from that way. And I think it also got me out of my shell because I was more introverted, and I can still be. So, but it helped me to also, this is how social skills. Here's how you talk to someone. Here's how you pick up on this. Here's how you ask questions. Here's how you seek to understand. So all that has kind of made me a little bit of who I am with my entrepreneurial spirit, mindset, heart, you name it. And just the drive, the passion comes from, I would definitely say credit 100% to my stepdad, because I grew up around that. And then fast forward. So I went to college at the University of Texas at San Antonio, graduated with a business marketing degree, which if I had to do it all over again, I would have skipped my 4-year college, just FYI. Really? We can dig into that a different time if you want.
Very curious about that.
More of a waste of time. I wish I would have went right into digital marketing. But skipping over that, I always wanted to do my own business. I always wanted to run an agency. I just didn't know what. And I wanted it to be in marketing. I started in marketing when I was 17. I would basically work for promotional type marketing, Nintendo, Wii, Monster Energy drinks.
Look at that. You're married.
All already, that stuff.
You've married already in this story. You've already married two important passions in life, right? From a young age. I love it.
Exactly. And when I dived into that promotional marketing, I was like, the clients that we had were like Verizon, State Farm, like Walmart, really big clients. And I would work with the agency. So I was like pretty much a member of the agency that they would bring on. So if you're thinking about it, when I'm in college, I'm making like $25, $30 an hour. That's freaking good. That's really, really good. And I was like, why am I going to these classes? The teachers are not even interested in the topic. They always look miserable. Like, I'd rather be going, making money, having fun, doing events. Events was a big thing, promotional events. So I would work 2-3 days on the weekends, and I'm like, I made it up for the weekend stuff, So to me, I was like, that gave me kind of a snippet, or kind of like a little splash into marketing. And I fell in love with it. And I was like, you know what, maybe event marketing or promotional marketing or staffing is going to be the area that I go to. And then long story short, through connections and everything after college, I was like, you know what, got my business marketing degree. And through just network connections, one of my stepdad's buddies said, hey, we need a marketing person. He's like, my son just graduated.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's the one thing that I've learned about entrepreneurship. It's all about relationships. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're not business networking or doing some aspect of business networking, which podcasting is exactly an aspect of business networking. It's kind of really hard to succeed. Without those type of relationships, partners, you name it. So I said, I'm totally down. They needed a digital marketing agency. Digital marketing person. And it was in California, in San Mateo, for a financial institution? And I said, for sure. Financial services, new to me, but marketing isn't.
Yeah.
So long story short, packed up everything, bought a new car. I bought a Nissan Sentra.
Ah, nice. I used to have one of those.
I left a hanger on all of my clothes. I threw it all in the trunk. And I said, I'm taking a leap of faith and I'm doing it. What's the worst that could happen? I just go back to Texas.
Yeah.
And I'm back to square one. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't pass up this opportunity. So I did that 24-hour drive from San Antonio, Texas, all the way to San Mateo, California.
Yeah.
So I get there and, I just learned. They even paid for some training. I'm super grateful for the experience. Right.
Wow.
And what I started seeing, and this is where, if you're a marketer, definitely want to put your ear as close as you can or turn up the volume on this one. But I was working at the agency. Mm-hmm. Now I am the client to the agency. So the thing that I bring to the table is I see both sides. Mm-hmm. And I have the experience of both sides. Mm-hmm. So when I joined, I knew that the company was getting their eyes poked out, being taken advantage of. They're paying like $20K, sometimes $30K a month for marketing services.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
What I was able to do when I got in there was bring that monthly expense to just about 10 or 12K.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm like, this is all you really need.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Saved them a lot of money.
Let's unpack. So so this is in the financial services industry. What were their plays? Like what were they focused on? Where were they showing up, from a marketing perspective at that time?
They were working with a content marketing agency, really focused on campaigns, which was content heavy, and blogging. Okay. Like their thing was like 3 to 5 times a week blogging. Okay. And that was like the thing. Yeah. At the time, right?
Yeah. So they're like everything from ghostwriting to publishing the blog. Where was there like a
link building?
Okay, that's what I was going to go.
All that stuff, like, all the like old school dated stuff.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, yep.
Okay. So I'm like, I looked at the our marketing dashboard. We had HubSpot, and at the time, I don't know if they're still using them, but to me, it was like, okay, they have all these services, but where's the website traffic?
Yeah. Okay. So was it converting at all? Like were there, and I know I'm drawing maybe and dusting the rust off of experience, but was that converting at all?
So the thing that was converting was paid.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
They were pretty much just wrapping up maybe 3/4 of that $20K and just flushing it down the toilet then.
100%. Yeah. They outsourced a PPC expert.
Okay.
So this marketing agency had everyone, a PPC expert, an SEO, a graphic designer, a web developer, designer, a copywriter, the whole thing. Right.
So they can't do anything but charge $20K a month.
One, to keep the lights on, but yes, 2, because they're also paying other people. So they have to make margins and cash, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When they use contractors. So if you're a marketer, you got to be aware of this. Like it's like car sales almost. Yeah. You're going in for a Toyota, you want a pickup truck, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how much let's just throw a number. They're 30 or 50K, right? Yeah. They jack up the price on purpose because they have wiggle room. So they're doing the same thing. Agencies are doing the same thing, especially the ones that say, we do everything under one umbrella. We're your one-stop shop. Yeah. You don't have to worry about anything. Well, you do actually have to worry about stuff. Yeah. So that was going there. And I brought it down again from 30K a month to about 10 to 12K. And we're really focused on what we needed to focus on. But again, it was hard because some of these relationships was like you're breaking up a marriage.
Oh yeah.
The owner and it was hard because, the CEO was just afraid. One, the conflict in relationships, but also those are difficult conversations to have. Oh yeah. Right. But then it's like, okay, I'm going to end this contract with this agency that I've known for years. And then we're going to trust Jesus with everything. Like I had to build the trust with the CEO as well too. It's a difficult position to be in, 100%.
Yeah.
But I also noticed that the marketing was not really valued at the company. So yes, they had this marketing partner.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. And
yeah, but I get that. Yeah.
And everything I would propose would get shut down, or what's the cheapest solutions and everything. So I was like, oh my gosh, well, what's the ROI? I'm like, we haven't even started.
Yeah.
Forecast the ROI. I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can forecast the ROI for you.
Yeah.
But I'll make it a super appealing and something realistically that we can do. But it was always, and marketers laugh at this. It's always, sure, let's try after a month, 2 months, cut it off. It's not working.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not a lead generation company where you put your credit card and paid for X amount of dollars per lead.
Yeah.
So the company was very used to paying for a lead generation company. PPC experts, all this ads, advertisement, money was literally out the window.
Yeah, it's
all
like
the time.
It's like eating Doritos. It'll fill you up, but you'll be 400 pounds. Even though I just ate a bag of Doritos this afternoon. So. no knock on Doritos, but it is like the.
You made me think about Super Bowl commercial.
Exactly. It's like it's satisfying, nice short term high. You get those short term metrics, but again. Back to kind of the marketing versus branding idea as well, is like, this background on Jesus, it shapes what his business is about in the same way, the way that you're generating leads is going to shape what your brand and what your marketing is about and your digital presence. So
and a lot of things there, like it was hard for SEO to rank on Google. I mean, it still is today.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why a lot of people are doing the podcast. A lot of people are going hard on social media for organic. But it was hard for someone who really depended on it like a crutch for, paid advertisement to now I'm coming in trying to propose organic. It was like a foreign language to them. So that was a difficult learning curve. Then the financial institution got bought out by a local community bank. And then at that point I was like, I'm not really excited about working for a bank with compliance, federal regulations, all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Watch out what I tweet. Like, I'm just like, and at the time I was like, you know what? I want to do something more that doesn't limit my creativity. And I already had friends at the time that were into websites, into WordPress. And they're like, hey, we're just waiting on you to jump ship so we can start this.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And some of them were doing it part-time. Some of them were doing it full-time.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to start as a part-time entrepreneur. And then
what's wrong with that?
When that revenue matches my salary, I'll jump ship. I started it. It took like 3 clients. And then I was at a point where I'm like, if I don't put in my 2 weeks and leave, it's going to hurt my customers. And it was hard. It was definitely hard. Because at the time, I don't really talk about this with too many people. So I really love this interview.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because at the time, I was newly married. And they always say first year in marriage is difficult. And it is. And then just started my company on the side. And I had a full-time, job on top of it as a digital marketer.
Yeah.
And a website admin, right? So for me, I was like, it was hard because I had to learn how to make time for my marriage.
Yeah.
And that was really, really difficult for me.
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, you're done with your, 8 to 5 job. Yeah. Okay. Jump right into working on JRM Web Marketing, right? Which is my company.
Yeah.
And then connect with the wife and all this stuff. But for me, I was like, oh, wow, no, dinner with the wife, connect with the wife. Yeah. And then go to work.
Yeah.
So it was hard to be patient. I'm very impatient. So it was hard for me to be patient naturally. Yeah. Like I had to wait for the whole day to finish. Then eat with your wife, connect with her, all this. And then you can work on your little side hustle.
Yeah. That's
especially when you're getting short-lived. Especially when you're getting messages, emails, phone calls throughout the day. And you're like, oh man, I can only take this on my lunch break.
Yeah. Wow.
The long story short, and I kept saying that, but I'm really close to finishing it.
Yeah.
I did the transition.
Mm-hmm.
It's been picking up traction and growing ever since then.
Mm.
And the reason why I chose, just to give you the why on why I chose website solutions, is because when I looked at all the vendors as a digital marketing manager, all the marketing activity pointed back to the website, the domain name.
Yep.
And I said, in any business, forget B2B, just any business, you need a website.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the engine that makes the whole car run.
Yeah.
So for me, the way I was thinking about it is, you know what? I don't want to be an agency that says we do everything under one umbrella. We're your digital marketing agency, full service agency. And I'm like, I experienced so much frustration working with those kind of agencies, multiple agencies. One, they promise you everything under the sun. Two, their customer service sucks because they're managing other accounts.
Yeah.
And their account manager changes all the time. Why? Turnover sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, so something's not working. Yeah, it is a grind.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, hey, I need this stuff done. I need some web design, web development. Okay. I find out it's overseas.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what I get from working with the agency.
Yeah.
I was like, I need someone US.
Yeah.
Local.
Yeah.
I was like, with marketing, you got to move fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So if you don't have
integrated piece to the puzzle for sure.
Yeah. So what I saw was like, look, responsiveness to communication sucks.
Yeah.
And like every entrepreneur sees the need in the market and goes and creates their own business. And so I saw a need with the website part. It was hard to get the web developer on the phone, just to get them to pick up the phone and talk, right? Just to email them. Like I would get an email response from the agency because they hired a web developer overseas. 2 weeks later, I'm like, I don't even know if this matter even is relevant now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, so for me, it was those kind of frustrations. Can't get a hold of my account manager, my web developer, any of that, to where I said, you know what? I felt this. I don't want other people to feel this. What really matters to me is picking one service and being really darn good at that. And that's why I picked websites. I'm like, I'd rather be known for like the website guy than the guy that does everything and is scattered.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's quality over quantity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It's like can be a somewhat anxiety striking position to be in though, because obviously, you have your own podcast, you have your own social following, like, you're competent in a variety of different areas. So it really is like a choice, to be focused, especially when, there's probably opportunity, elsewhere as well. So, but
right.
I think one of the things that I kind of wanted to touch on and probably back up a little bit on is how, like, so it kind of seemed like you almost started your own business within a business with the financial institution. There is kind of like, it's almost like, okay, you're a hired gun of sorts, but it's kind of like, you've got a division or category of the business, even that is going to a department, whatever you want to call it, of the business that you're now responsible for, and that you have that level of trust turned over. Very similar relationship, right? In with a customer, it was like, you're talking to some sort of executive or, somebody that's going to bring you into the business as a vendor into their business, and you've got to build that trust, and now you've got to deliver for that domain of expertise. What made so I guess what is like the picture now, that you've started the business, you got that off the ground, we got a little bit of the background there. What's kind of like, okay, now that we're churning, we got some good things going here for clients. You obviously have that domain of expertise. How do you think about structuring and replicating that? Because there's in this space as well, which is very common, is once the founder is no longer involved in every customer, the agency quality could definitely die off. And you already touched on some of the reasons for that.
Right.
Contractors overseas trying to cost cut, churn in the client communication side of things, because they don't have the passion of the entrepreneur. So
right.
How do you think about that? And how have you structured that? Because you've obviously experienced that, that feeling.
Right. Yeah. So right now, we have bandwidth where I manage the customer.
Awesome.
100%.
Yeah.
So I don't pass them on to anyone, him or her. I don't pass them on. Mm-hmm. So I did. And I had this same conversation, Stephen, I had with an industry partner that does social media advertising. And he's overwhelmed and he's trying to hire contractors for project management, for account management, direct handling of clients. Right.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I experimented with this because I really needed it. Like I needed a project manager. I also needed an account manager. Because where I'm really, really passionate about is 100% marketing.
Yeah.
I'm like diehard marketer.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I want to go create videos. I want to go, go do podcasting. I need to go reach out to people so I can have them as my guests on the show. Like, I really want to do that. I want to spend more time on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So for me, I did do that at the beginning, all me. And then I got to a point where I grew the company out and I was spending a lot of time in our project management tool, Asana. And I was like, I'm spending a lot of time with customers in Asana, which is great. I got a lot of deep insights from customers, which has helped our business to grow, has changed a lot of the copy on our website. I mean, even social media too. So it's been great. When I hired someone, and this is difficult because I don't know what's going to happen afterwards. So when I hired someone to do the project management, I've learned that there was frustration with the web development team. They're like, she doesn't know the lingo. She's great at operations and execution, but she doesn't know the lingo. We're spending too much time on calls, meetings, all this stuff. Right. And then it was also with the customers. It was like, hey, this contractor isn't available till next month. Are you that busy? And I find out that the contractor, as you know, they don't just work on your project. You're just one client to them.
Right.
So for me, I was getting like the leftovers of, her energy. She's great as a person. It's just, she did not have the bandwidth and she had a strong work ethic. She just did not have the bandwidth. So then I got customer feedback, and these were from my big accounts too. And they're saying, hey, are you still going to be part of this or not? And it created some fear because I'm like, oh man, they're going to leave us. Right. As any entrepreneur has, it's the fear of failure and a client leaving.
Oh man. It's a real thing.
I've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know what? People come and go. I'm going to give 100%. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
And it's for different reasons. It's not like, oh, you guys did a bad job. So,
all kinds of reasons.
Oh yeah. So then I had to let her go because it was affecting the customers. And to me, the customer is 100% the most important part, more than marketing, more than sales, more than everything, other aspect or departments of my business. So I came back. I was like, I'm taking it on. And I started talking to my big accounts and I said, hey, and they're like, it was just that she was not like an industry expert. And what we wanted was consultation. We didn't just want someone to just build a relationship with just for the sake of getting a pulse on us. We wanted like a genuine relationship, but we wanted the industry expertise. And to me, I started thinking like, oh yeah, this person wouldn't know how to upsell.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know how to provide solid solutions.
Yeah.
All she could say is really, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Which they're like, well, what's the whole purpose of this meeting?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, like if you're handling our account and stuff, like,
we need answers on the call.
Exactly. Yeah. So then it was hard because everything was email. And there's nothing wrong with email. I think email is great for documentation purposes. But when it became like, I started doing monthly meetings once a month with my bigger accounts. With the smaller accounts, it was once a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like plenty for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they want the industry expert. They want someone that can give them solid solutions.
Mm-hmm.
They want someone that would ask about what is their industry trends.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, what's JRM Web Marketing's industry trends?
Mm.
Like they wanted that information. Yeah. They're craving it. So when they weren't having that, it was kind of like, there are questions, should we work with JRM Web Marketing or not?
Mm-hmm.
And then it started like triggering me because I'm like, that's the reason I started this whole agency.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking like that, if we become what we hate, right? It's like
exactly.
You found the opportunity, and based off of your experience, took advantage of that opportunity in the market, and then almost turned into, what the point person at your client, was you, right? And saw the opportunity. Yeah.
Instead of being the agency that does everything under one umbrella and suck at customer service, you became the agency that focused on one service and sucked at customer service. I'm like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So I took it on over.
Mm-hmm.
There is going to be a time where it just happens. Businesses grow, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't see it happening anytime soon, but there will be a time. And I think the best way that I'm going to go about this, everyone thinks about it differently, is I'm just going to go straight for employee. I'm not going to go straight for contractor because I do need the focus and I do need to be able to coach, train, and build the person up.
Yep.
And I can't do that with a contractor.
Yeah. I will say that was one of the biggest learnings for me in 2020. Thankfully, I kind of stumbled upon a kind of a gem that, of someone that really owned their work, regardless of their relationship, with the company. And it was really kind of internal, get some relationship built internally, are going to handle my calendar, going to handle my email, and then kind of scale that up as we go. But to your point though, bringing them on full time, but it brings them into the fold and it provides hey, I'm making a bet on you as a person here, I want to make you better as a part of your, being a part of this company. So how can we do that? And then how can we embed that into how you're, treating our customers? I think it was pretty cool. Way to do it. However, it is a challenge because to your point, it's like, you lived the story we just went through, and that's where your expertise came from, coming in, working directly with PPC, right? Pay-per-click. It's not my domain.
PPC. yeah. Pay-per-click.
So, working with that expert, SEO expert, digital agency, everything under the sun. So you got a picture into that. Then you got the picture of, hey, I'm going to take this on. Now you got the picture of doing that across industries for 30 some odd clients. Now it's like you're plugging in somebody who is probably where you were back when you were about to take over everything in the financial institution and being like, hey, just scale up that last 15 years that I just went through and now work on these 30 clients, it's almost like a reset of some of the expectations there even, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Really interesting.
Totally. Yeah.
So you're thinking you're going to get, you're moving towards that point as well, you think?
Of hiring a full-time employee?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's going to be the next goal would be that. Again, right now we do have bandwidth right now.
Yeah.
I think what's helped is just doing, putting it in the schedule for, the monthly and quarterly meetings.
Yeah.
But then it's offering them also like rock solid solutions and just being part of, I think the other thing that's really good is, I'm a marketer turned to CEO.
Yeah.
So for me is, I just love working with marketers because we get it. We value marketing. We value technology, all of that stuff. So I just happen to have the podcast, Mastering B2B Marketing Podcast, that is focused on taking your marketing to the next level because I'm passionate about B2B marketing. So for me is I even interview my clients that are marketers and we're talking about it and we all get value from it too.
Yeah.
They promote it. They promote their company. We talk about what we're doing with the website. It's great for the show as well. But they're also dropping like serious knowledge of what they're doing when it comes to strategy and tactics.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, I think maybe, what do we got? Did we already go over, or do we got 20 more minutes?
Oh, we're good. We're good.
We're good. All right. Cool.
Yeah, we're good. We got 20.
Cool. So I've been thinking a lot about, a few different things, but in related to this conversation and where we're about to go with this, I think, the collaborative nature as an entrepreneur, and embedding yourself into a company, in your journey, have you naturally erred towards like, we're going to basically learn everything about this company's background, kind of like what we're doing today, where you're understanding, where I'm understanding everything about, your background, and then be able to leverage that for strategy? Or have you kind of made it a little bit more of like a one size fits all that's still effective, not to discredit it, type solution? Like how do you take that balance? Because I feel like that's another agency challenge across agencies,
when it comes to web development specifically, or are we talking about really more podcasting?
Any solutions, more so with the solutions that you're delivering for your company. Do you look at it as, okay, in order to deliver this solution in a differentiated manner, I've got to basically become an expert on that company? Or do you see it as like a little bit more of a one size fits all type, or is it somewhere in between? Like, how have you kind of navigated that continuum?
Yeah. So for me, again, the B2B companies is the niche. And how I came about that was just more the experience that came with it as a marketer. Yeah. So for me, I would go to the HubSpot events inbound, and I just met a lot of marketers. It became peers, fellow marketers, right? So for me, it was like, these are the guys that get it. So I don't want to focus on a small business owner that is like, doesn't get marketing, doesn't value it, and also doesn't understand why he or she is paying a lot of money. So for me, I'm like, I'm kind of tired and over that. I was like, I'm passionate to help small business owners, don't get me wrong, but I'll point them in a different direction because it's not a good fit for us. So when it comes to, hey, I want to work with the B2B companies, it's either the marketer, a marketing professional, or it's either the CEO, right? Because it's a small startup, but they're still a B2B company. So for me, I'm like, as long as we're in the B2B company avenue, we're good. It can be a software company. It can be any type of company. Yeah. As long as it's B2B. And what I started finding out was more that, okay, so going back to when I was a digital marketing manager, the majority of activities that were needed were website related, right? We have something seasonal. Let's throw it up on the website. Let's do this. Let's take this board member off. Let's replace him with this one. Like everything was website related, but they're still paying a lot of money for an agency. So if you have a marketing manager or a team of marketers, you don't need to pay for a huge agency that does everything. You only need to pay for, you can call them whatever, a website admin, a webmaster, a web developer, a website partner. Like that's the missing piece to making your marketing scale, because you already have people in house that are marketers. You have a copywriter, you have a social media person, you have a graphic designer. So the thing that I saw was, again, the need. One, what web developers are notorious for, which I really don't like because it really hurts the trust with prospective clients, is you guys are not reliable. Responsiveness to communication sucks. You're head down coding. And if you hire someone on Upwork or Fiverr, good luck. Because they're even more overwhelmed and it's only a one-person shop. But for me, I'm like, okay, web development is good, especially for startups, as we're trying to scale fast, like rapid growth. To me, I was like, you know what? Forget the one-man shop. We're doing a team. So I have a team of 13 developers. And we pride ourselves on responsiveness. Like you go to our Google reviews, majority of them are saying quick response. rapid response.
Yeah.
Because I saw the need there. I was frustrated with all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, they need a developer, they need a point of contact, they need all this stuff. So that's how I kind of focused more on like the need in the market.
Yeah.
And became kind of like, oh, that's the WordPress development company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, contact Asus. He's the website guy.
Yeah. I got
And it became kind of the go-to.
Yeah.
Now, when it came to the pricing and everything like that, I mean, I had to really look at what the market was doing, but also know that I have to differentiate myself from a freelancer because this is an agency. This is not, this is not my high school project. This is, this is legit stuff that we're doing with, which, Upwork, Fiverr, all these other stuff, they're just looking to get another notch on their belt. So just be careful with that. Because a lot of times they'll just go MIA and work for Google or somewhere else. Right. So you just want to be careful about that stuff because sometimes it's hard to get access to your site and not have that point of contact when the emergency happens. Yeah. So we had to up our prices. We had to pivot a lot of times. So I feel like we're at a really good sweet spot right now with our agency when it comes to providing those website services. So it's web design if people want to do a redesign. And then we do ongoing website maintenance with our packages just to keep the website up to date and running properly on the back end. Make sure your site doesn't get hacked, infected with malware and stuff, right? That stuff happens all the time. Sometimes you don't even notice. You weren't even aware that your site's infected with malware. You're like, it looks good. I don't see what's wrong with it. But I have no clue what's going on the back end. And the other thing is web development, right? So web development comes with the redesign, but there's some companies, B2B companies that need to, pay for a block of web development hours because they need to outsource web development. Maybe it's overflowing. Maybe it's not. So we do that as well. When we can even do like a custom package too. Sometimes they're like, hey, we need a redesign. We need website maintenance. And then when the redesign's done, we need to actually hire you guys on a monthly retainer for development too. So every need's different. But it became more like, you know what? We provide website solutions for B2B companies.
Yeah. I think what's cool is, and again, hearkening all the way back to young Jesus, the gamer, who was forced into the 18-wheeler life,
typing on my stepdad's computer. Responding awesome. To a customer.
Hey, I think that it's generational because I think I saw a LinkedIn photo of your boy doing the same. So
seriously, people eat that up. It's so cute.
It's so cute. My little guy will get there one day, but he's not even 3 months old, so he's not doing too much typing yet. He just found his hands actually, so that's exciting.
He was like, whoa.
Anyway, where were we going? Oh, so I think layering on different levels of expertise, like when you were young, layering on both kind of the entrepreneurial side that was baked into your DNA with gaming, your first foray into the professional life. Now, it's interesting how people might think, website, that is marketing, right? Well, there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. Right. It seems like for you, layering, your marketing expertise into, web development, web design, that's really kind of, from what I'm understanding, where you're focused. Right. Which is really interesting, and was that a strategic or something that, you kind of developed over time where you were like strategically thinking, okay, if I can continue to level up my marketing knowledge or even just take advantage of what's naturally happened over the course of your career that we just outlined, and bring it to this domain, within web development, web design, then I could really be differentiated and partner with a company that gets it and be a part of that team? Or was that something that kind of morphed and now you found yourself here and it's like, okay, this is what we are now? How did you approach the positioning of your company in the market?
The first one, which was, I was already a B2B marketer. I was already soaking myself in all this knowledge when it came to marketing. As I mentioned, I went to the inbound conferences. I went to marketing groups. events, things like that, I was like hungry to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And that still never stopped. So the way I thought about it, so strategic in a way that I looked at my strengths and I said, what am I passionate about? And I said, marketing and food. But I was like, I'm going to go with marketing.
Yeah.
I was like, I love marketing. I can talk marketing all day. Like literally, we can do a 3-hour Joe Rogan style podcast right now talking about marketing. Like, I love it. So for me, I'm like, I'm passionate about marketing. Now I was like, okay, let's go down to more of a narrow approach. What part of marketing do you really enjoy doing? And I said, the website.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Wow.
And a lot of it was just more like, okay, I'm really good at the websites. I understand it. I know how to do on-page SEO. I know how to do, the design, the development, the maintenance of it. Yeah. So for me, I'm like, what is something I'm very passionate about? I'm like, that every business needs a website.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't, then why are you in business for? It doesn't make sense.
Well, I think what's funny and to double down on what you just said, lastly, there is, it wasn't just, hey, this is what I like to do. These are the people that I know to help me do what I like to do. You also evaluated the market, and I think that was a really interesting thing and component that, listeners to the show here, as you're thinking about, I think a few different things, but, one, what your business will be. But then also how you will do business with partners is who is evaluating the market and adjusting their business to the market trends. And I it's pretty cool. I think the trust and the understanding of the role of marketing in business is becoming a little bit more baked into the DNA of B2B, D2C, but B2C. And I think, D2C, direct to consumer, I think it really helped out businesses that are selling to consumers to see the value of marketing in their business. And I think now B2B, we're seeing more and more people understanding the role and the value of marketing in their business. And maybe that, hopefully it's not just me in an echo chamber of my, marketing circles that I just believe that now that the whole market thinks that.
My huge leverage has been, corporate marketer turned to CEO.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, no, I'm not just saying stuff that are salesy just to get you to be my customer. Like I actually know it. I've done it. I've been at a company where the CEO does not get marketing. And I'll tell you right now, it had nothing to do with my communication.
Yeah.
I knew my numbers as a digital marketer and I did my forecasting ROI. I knew what I was selling and proposing. So for me, I was like, I've been there. Doesn't value your work, doesn't appreciate marketing, spends way more time and money on sales, like no vision for marketing. There's no really going up the ladder. So for me, I was like, you know what? I'm out. There's a ton of companies that are innovating, but it wasn't out towards, let me just go find a new job. But if you are relating to this and you're like, oh my gosh, you're speaking to me, this is exactly my position, go find a new job.
Yeah.
I'm like, what I did is I started my own company on the side and then took off. That could be you too. Yeah. That could be something where you see a need from working with vendors. Maybe you're viewing it like, hey, if I was the CEO, I would do it this way. Well, maybe you can. Yeah. Maybe you could do it differently. Yeah. So I would really double down on what your strengths, because to me, I was like, I have a lot of strengths with just being a marketer. So for me, I sometimes forget that, hey, I have to lean on that. Like there's not a lot of people or let's just talk about web developers. There's not a lot of web developers that get B2B marketing. So when I'm talking to a B2B marketer, they're like, this dude gets it. Yeah. It's not frustrating. It's not wasting time. It's not anything. We're not wasting time and money. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's challenging to bake that into the DNA of a company though. I think that's
it is
bake that expertise in. I'm excited to kind of follow your journey. I think, people can expect that, right? Doing business with you today. And it'll be cool to follow how you bake that into kind of the DNA and architecture of your company.
Right.
I'm pretty excited to see that.
Hopefully I answered your question though, which was
yes.
The strength kind of already provided the strategy in itself.
Yep. Yeah, I think you did. I think it's pretty cool. Layering on different domains of expertise, even if they, from an outsider looking in, may be somewhat related. And I've seen you really double down on the expertise and the history that you have around marketing. I've also, even on our last podcast we did together, we are both voracious consumers of marketing expertise, marketing insights, trying to understand what's next in the marketing stratosphere. So maybe, we'd be remiss not to at least answer a few marketing questions, and for me to ask them, what do you see as super important for companies? And, I guess maybe your typical client, a B2B company that's trying to stand out online. What do you think is most important, either thoughts, channels, or a framework for somebody to be thinking about when it comes to marketing today for companies in the B2B space?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk to companies that actually get marketing and do want to learn and grow and put budget towards it and really want to be strong with that. I would say the thing that I'm seeing is, if you don't have a podcast, start a podcast, reach out to Steven. He'll give you some really good insight solutions.
Thanks, man.
And on top of that, all our podcast content gets chopped up. Everything you see on LinkedIn from the podcast. I'm going to chop this video up. And we're going to go ahead and post it on LinkedIn, post it on YouTube. It's going to be on Apple, Spotify, like the whole thing, any podcasting app. So we do that 100% inbound leads. They go to our website, fill out the form. That's where the website comes in place. So make sure it's updated. So make sure the website is updated. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I almost just ran through that, skipped it over, but it's huge, right?
Yeah.
Look into Web Vitals optimization. Web Vitals optimization is a thing from Google. They up their standards when it comes to measuring websites. I posted this on LinkedIn too. So if you're not doing this, you're falling behind. Basically, they measure your website speed, your load time, to be specific. If it's slow, it's broken in their mind. They go to the next person, right?
Wow. Yeah.
You want to get it under 2 seconds on page load time. So work on that. Why is that important? I'm not trying to rank on Google. Well, if you are, it helps you to get discovered on Google and it helps with ranking. But if Google ranking is not your focus, think of it more from the user experience.
Yeah. High intent leads hopping on your website. You're
pushing people
to time of reels.
Yeah. One, it helps you with SEO to get discovered, whether you want it or not. But if you're really just not focused on SEO and ranking, then know that the user experience is going to be phenomenal then. Lightning speed website, especially if you have an e-commerce. I mean, you need that.
Yeah.
But then the lightning speed website is going to provide a better user experience, which is also going to improve your lead conversions. A lot of people don't think that far deep. So take care of the website, protect it so it doesn't get hacked. But I would say focus on podcasts, focus on content strategy. And what I mean by that is a lot of marketers just post whatever for the day. They don't think a week, 2 weeks, 30 days out, 2 months. They don't do that. I wouldn't even do 2 months, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I keep it at 1 to 2 weeks because things change all the time in marketing, just like technology. And then the other thing I would say is start experimenting. Everyone laughs at TikTok.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's my teenager and stuff like that. Yeah. Facebook was for teenagers too when it started out. It was for college students, right? So start now while the organic reach is really good. And don't feel like you have to do what everybody else is doing, which is comedy or just acting stupid. Be an industry leader, post, get your CEO, get him in a meeting, record him. If he doesn't like recording, get a copywriter, someone who's good at taking notes. Why does he do what he does? What Steven just did with me, marketers would eat that up.
Oh yeah.
And post that on social media. So I would say YouTube Shorts and TikTok is going to be the next frontier for B2B marketing. It's going to be, right now, we're experimenting with it. So I am on TikTok if you guys want to follow me on TikTok. The first time I ever promoted it. But we're experimenting with it. YouTube Shorts, we're experimenting with it on our Jerem Web Marketing YouTube channel. That's the advice I would give, because eventually TikTok is going to be the place that people go to. LinkedIn's organic reach is like terrible right now. People post and they're like, why do I only get 2 likes? And they're working their tail off with content. I was like, I don't think it's the content. Your content's solid. It's just the platform.
Well, things are always changing, you know. I mean, that hasn't been the case in recent history, right? But that's really interesting. So we got show up where people's attention is right now, which, you know, audio, obviously it was like the year of audio, you know, to think about that. And then what's interesting is like, it's not just good enough to create something. You got to think about the distribution model, which I think you laid out some great insights for distribution that people in the B2B space can be thinking of. That's a little bit more bleeding edge and not dry and just, you know, traditional. So that's cool. Where you went with that question is, you know, what I asked was, what should you be thinking about now? And what Jesus laid out is how can you be thinking about what's going to be important in the future? You know, so I think that was a good insights for people to start to pick up there. I can
also give you just one last thing before we jump off, because I know we're coming up on time. Unless you have more questions, I'm open for questions.
Okay. I'll look while you talk here.
Here's my exact podcast strategy. I'm going to be very tactical here. Okay. So we record on Zoom like this one, full episode, let's say 30 minutes to an hour, upload the whole thing on YouTube. And then we chop it up into 3 short videos. Short videos can be anywhere from 10 minutes to 3 minutes tops. I wouldn't go higher than 3 minutes. I would try to keep it under 3 minutes for short clips. If you're going to do YouTube, 10 minutes is good. I wouldn't go higher than 10 minutes. But I use one of the short clips, and our video editor customizes it, the template and everything for YouTube. So it's Jerem branded. So out of this full podcast episode, we chopped it up in 3 short clips. We're using one of the short clips for LinkedIn. What we're also doing is uploading all those 3 short clips onto YouTube. Sometimes, I do hold back now on the clip that I'm using for LinkedIn. I don't upload it to YouTube as a regular video. What I do is we convert that short clip that I use for LinkedIn as a YouTube Shorts. So that same one, we're doing it for 60 seconds and under. So you're seeing a 3-minute short clip on LinkedIn. We're now bringing it down to 60 seconds. And we're getting just the juicy parts out of it. We post that on YouTube instead of a regular video, because it's kind of like duplicate. You don't want to upload the same content. So we upload it on Shorts because Shorts is such a hot topic right now. It's trending. Now here's the thing. And whoever's listening, steal this. I don't care. I want to help you guys be successful. So that Shorts, YouTube Shorts, aspect ratio is 9:16, I believe.
Okay.
The same ratio for TikTok and Instagram Reels. Upload that same video to TikTok and Instagram Reels. That's the way you experiment with TikTok. Now, I'm not saying go all in with TikTok and forget LinkedIn, right? If your audience is hanging out, your ideal client is hanging out on LinkedIn, please do not abandon them. Provide some resources, but don't go all in with TikTok, because I feel like TikTok, I think there's a combination. You need to do both of that. And then we upload the full audio. We convert that video to audio and we upload it and slap on our intro and outro. And that's it. That's all we do.
I think it's a solid distribution model. I think, you know, one of the things that I've noticed that you do that helps a lot is like on those, especially on LinkedIn, you know, you're not just focused on one medium, like you're not just focused on that 3-minute video,
Right.
you're also focused on showing up there daily. And not just that, but also engaging. I think that's a huge one.
Right.
And I haven't had enough traction on YouTube to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to engage in the comments on YouTube. Maybe get 1 or 2. So not a whole lot of volume there to engage with.
Yeah.
However, on LinkedIn, it's really interesting, how your engagement can really make a difference on that video. And there's a number of people that we could talk about that do this really well. But I think that's one cool thing that I've seen you do that helps the distribution model of your podcast without even recognizing it.
Totally.
Once that 3-minute video shows up, you've built in that kind of foundation for that then to be distributed. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's
awesome.
That's cool. So I guess the sneak peek there is the YouTube shorts and the TikTok and how to posting, how to think about building out those posts without the tremendous creator ag and I guess paralysis, right? The analysis by paralysis type situation that someone could end up in trying to approach those 2 new platforms.
Start off slow.
Yeah.
There's still creators that are not like completely sold and invested on YouTube Shorts because Google's notorious for cutting products. They're like, try this new, live stream that we have.
Yeah.
By the way, it wasn't successful. So try this other one. It's like, what are you doing? We just spent so much time. We're spending so much time with these video editors. You don't care.
Crazy. Cool. All right. Well, what's your parting shot here? What's typically the finale of your show? What do you try and close things out with?
I basically close things out with, and I'm going to switch it on you. Okay. Because I provided a lot of feedback and tactical stuff. What is some really good advice or tips for B2B marketing professionals, especially around podcasting? Because you're the guru.
Yeah. So I think so what's interesting is I think you can get a lot of the same advice in a lot of different places, and that's one thing that I'm noticing in B2B marketing and the I'm so afraid to even say the word of thought leadership, but the thought leadership within B2B marketing is you can get a lot of the same advice in a lot of different places. I think the thing that I would offer is there's a reason why that advice is showing up again and again and again. So I'd say don't sleep on the obvious is one big thing. And I think the other thing is to not be afraid to really pull in the people in your organization that whatever you're doing, whether it's a software business, someone in healthcare, whatever industry you might be in, mining, right? Manufacturing, we're doing a lot with manufacturing, insurance. Don't be afraid to pull in the experts that you have inside your organization that are actually tactically doing things for clients and delivering for those clients. It's your job to make that information that they have in their heads relevant for an audience. So I think, showing up with value is kind of table stakes, but it's almost, how can you then take that to the next level? I think is to pull in what you inherently already have available to you. I think is something that I think is maybe a little bit less done, that could be done well. It's something that we've been trying to do a lot more for our clients. And the added benefit of that, which a lot of marketers already know, is the personification of the brand. If you're able to bring in a leading solution engineer or something like that, you're able to bring another face, another, personality to the brand. So I think those are 2 big things. One, don't sleep on the obvious, utilize the resources and the knowledge base that's been embedded into your organization within your domain to level up the quality of your content. I think the other thing too is think about distribution almost separately from your content generation. I think it's important, like in developing your content, to make sure that it's contextual. Like I wouldn't say totally do away with thinking about what's relevant on a particular platform. Yeah. Definitely develop content with somewhat with the platform in mind. But I think it's important to think about how can we really distribute this content. I think some of the people that I've followed, that kind of helped me think about this in a new way was like, now that in-person events are happening again, what's your distribution model for an in-person event? Which is really interesting. It's like, we're showing up, we're having conversations at the booth. Maybe we're able to pull some people into a room and interview them. Maybe we're able to land a speaking gig at that in-person event. Maybe we're able to talk to a leading speaker and utilize some of their content or record some of their content. But then what's your distribution model for that? I think, separating out content and distribution can really help for you to focus on just value with the content. How can I deliver the most value in every second of this podcast or every second of this interview? And then how can I then take that and think about distribution? And I think one thing that you do well, that is really important, and you mentioned it earlier on, everything's pointing back to the website. I think the reason for that is the third piece of that is leveraging that for growth. And I think we talked a little bit about this last time too, but once you have that audience, that distribution model figured out, how do you then move the needle in your organization and with high intent, with value that's going to be correlated all the way back to the value that you're bringing in your content. So it's been super helpful for us, I think, internally, even as we think about delivering, the services that we do for clients, to segregate those things out, because it's really important to be focused and to not be thinking about the revenue numbers that from the listenership of this show, or right. Even thinking about like, okay, how are people going to start commenting on this topic? If you can really get into the right headspace where you're providing value and then segregate out that distribution, I think is huge. So a little bit of a long-winded answer there, but I think that, segregating those things out is important for sure.
Totally. It just had a random idea. You should post on LinkedIn, your exact podcast process.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That would bring
a lot,
ton of value. Your current one.
Yeah. I think I think that would be great. Yeah. We should totally do that.
Totally do it. Yeah. Mine changed too. I've never had TikTok as part of it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's good. Yeah. I think we one of the cool things that, actually, this might even be another topic that after you said that, maybe taking the insights, if you're able to partner with somebody like JRM, try to pull the insights that they have across industries with their domains, because that's one thing that our best clients on the podcasting side are constantly trying to learn what we are learning. From other clients. So like if you're able to hop on the call with Jesus during your monthly meeting as a client of his and try to pull all the knowledge that he's collecting, embedding into his organization for your website. I think that's another cool thing that I've seen work pretty well for some of our clients too. So
nice.
It's nice when we get those questions too, because it's like you said, they're in it. They're ready to try and learn and try and figure out how to make it work. So
yeah, totally. Yeah. I was thinking about, how I don't really see people posting. Everyone says like for podcasting, I was like, start a podcast. It's never too late.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's boring.
Yeah.
What's your exact process? Tell me.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that's more exciting, and I will engage with that stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like it. Well,
you should definitely do it. Try it.
We have it documented. So I will definitely,
how many steps?
Roll this out. Starting a podcast is no joke. Let's see what it is.
Yeah. Even if it was 42 steps or whatever, you can now LinkedIn's post has extended the length for copy. So
we've got 10 large picture steps. And I think there's probably at least 10 steps within each of those. So let's see tell me, how would you distribute that content, well? So we've got almost 100 steps, right?
Yeah. I would do video.
Yeah.
I would do video.
Would you break down each big picture?
Video of you explaining it, and just make it like under 3 minutes, and then write it all out on the post, with the description and everything.
Yeah.
As much information as you can. Pretend you're writing a text only post, but you're really going to do the video. What some people do to make it easier, they'll do the video, transcribe it, and use that transcript as the post. Yeah. They just clean it up.
Yeah.
That might be easier.
Let me ask you, would you see, somebody posting that onto their web, like if they were to post that onto their website? Because one of the things that I've noticed too with some of that content, and one of the reasons why we love a podcast is because people listen to the old episodes. So you've got some evergreenness to it. How would you think about taking some sort of tactic like that? Because I'm going to do it. Like, this sounds awesome.
Putting it on the podcast?
Yeah, both putting it on the podcast. How would you bring that contextually to the website? Is it just a blog? How would you bring that content and embed it in some way into your website as well?
So definitely do it as a podcast, talking about it. I would not have that same 3-minute video for LinkedIn be converted to an MP3 for the podcast. I would do it separately. I would love to hear 20 minutes of you talking about it for the audio. Now, when it comes to the website, the way I would do it is kind of like a how we work.
Gotcha.
Or some people put
that's more of like the conversion mechanism.
It's more about like, if I really want to know the details, like they'll put how we work in the main menu, which is the navigational area. And then when I click on how we work, it should take me straight to your process of how you look at it. And it should be very different than what I'm used to. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's different already. The way you broke it down is pretty different, but that gives me more insight to how you do it. That sometimes creates fear for people. Because someone's going to steal it and stuff. But here's the reality. If I saw it on your website, I found you first. You're the industry leader because I saw your video on LinkedIn. Nobody, even if they did still and put it on their website, no one's going to go see it. They're not posting on LinkedIn. They're not doing other things.
Yeah. So would you want to hear? Oh man, I'm just picking your brain right now. This is good. I love this. I told you I love this. It's so selfish of me. Would you want to hear like a story? Like, let's bring you through what we did in this category for a client. So that's very like, it's big picture. It's like exactly with the process, big picture in the sense that it's not, only specific to that client, but then also tactically laying it out for a client. Because one of the things
you're talking about story.
Yeah. Well, even so, let's get super specific here. So like the audio branding section of our implementation process, so we've got probably 10, 15 steps, for branding somebody's audio and making sure that it's contextual to what other things that we're doing, either what we're doing as well as what they're doing. So would you, think that, oh man, it would be really helpful and awesome to kind of listen to first we're going to evaluate X, then we're going to build this, and then we're going to do that. And then we get this kind of client approval. We get this kind of insight. We ask these types of questions in our questionnaire. Or would it be like, for X client, they said that their brand had these 3 pillars, and we really narrowed down, okay, we could really communicate this with a song.
I want to hear it all.
Okay. All right.
But I want it broken up in different episodes.
Cool.
It's too much to digest.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I would want
I'm
to.
thinking about
I love
marrying a
stories.
story to it. Yeah. Yeah.
Stories are great. I've gotten the most feedback on LinkedIn messaging saying, I loved your latest episode. My girls were laughing in the car.
Nice.
And I'm like, what episode did I post? And I look back and it was me having a terrible customer service experience. And I was sharing about it. It was during the holidays. Nice. And stories stick with people and it's relatable. So do the storytelling 100%. Cool. I want to know your exact process. What differentiates you from others?
Yeah.
I also just think of ways you can just give. Just give. Yeah. Your exact process. I want to hear client testimonials. That'd
be a cool thing to insert in there. Have you done this?
Tell stories. I tell stories.
No, I mean, break down your entire process.
I did it on this episode.
There you go. That's right. Cool.
I did it on this episode. I just give it out. Yeah. 100%. It changes. Awesome. You're right. It does change every time. So any opportunity I can, even if people don't ask me, I just throw it out there because it's super valuable. I even put it as text only. Here's my exact process for podcasting. Super helpful. Yeah. I'm like, steal it. Yeah. Super helpful. Steal it.
I like it. That's awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As a reminder, don't forget to subscribe. You can also listen to our podcast on your favorite podcasting app.